Hi there, this is Dr. Corey Gilbert, and I wanted today to talk to you about an article that came out of the Washington Post called Perspective: Why I'm Saying No to Structured After-School Activities for My Kids. And here's kind of the summary version that I want to kind of be careful that how we walk into this, because this can get quite opinion and defensiveness in terms of responses. What's the point? The point is, too often moms and dads make decisions about their kids and about their family without considering all of the details. And so if they're not careful, they're in a very out of control place. Other people basically have made decisions about their life instead of them being intentional. That's really the biggest point. Some of you and some of my friends and some of the people we know are in that boat. You've actually let others, so the peer pressure, or even your kids, take over, and they are in control to the point of your own exhaustion and unhealth and family's unhealth. That's really the point. Now, if you actually look at the article, there's some great points about the fact is we have bought into this idea that we've got to entertain and or overeducate our kids in some sense. I agree with that. We are to walk alongside and mentor and build up. And I would say the number one goal, this is from research from Barna, the number one goal in raising our children is that we raise champions for Christ. And I talk to families all the time that I'm like, you know what? Sometimes that math curriculum or that other stuff in terms of education is less important than their heart. Have you captured their heart? Now, here's the deal. In my conversations with college students about sports specifically, I have found more often than not, that they are actually they dislike their sport more because it's turned into a chore rather than something they enjoyed. And as I think about the purpose of sports, it should be about something that challenges me and that I enjoy versus something that I learned to absolutely hate. So think about that when you're raising your children. You have choice, and oftentimes, if we're not careful, we make decisions for our kids because they enjoy it that actually in the long run hurts them and harms them. Where else do I see this? With a lot of college students in terms of eating disorders and then their view of themselves because they don't measure up, they can't measure up. Failure is important. Is it found only in sports or only in school? No, it's not. Actually, it's in relationships and other areas. In their own trust and faith in God and how He follows through and doesn't follow through in terms of our expectations. This is a difficult journey. It's kind of why I call my kids my 3 experiments, as in the end, we're all doing that. And in the end, if you've been intentional, we will hopefully raise really good kids. I would say that's not my goal. I don't want to raise good kids. I want to raise, for me, 2 men and a woman that love God and want to change the world, do something good in this world. That their job isn't their defining part of them, or success or other skills that they've learned aren't the defining pieces. Instead, they're using those things to become a better person. And so, what's yours? If you think again of this article, the idea of no structured things after school. Some families thrive on busyness and it doesn't disrupt, I guess, in a negative way. That's great. I would say for most families, it's killing the family. The structure of the family is actually harmed by this busyness that happens. This article, by the way, and I actually forgot to mention who it was by, Megan Nix. It was November 25th, 2019 in the Washington Post, and really kind of sums up this idea that we do all sorts of things like pottery and other kind of skills that are great, but if they can be taken too far. And our kids love them. And so we think we're doing the right thing for our children. And I would beg to say, same for sports. There's certain things that we're doing that's to their detriment. The one thing that I've seen in the research, to look on the research side, not anecdotal, is actually the one thing we can invest in for our children is music, lessons, music. There's something that is the only thing that actually has a whole brain workout, if you will. There actually is none of that in sports in that sense. But in a sport, what's the point of those sports? It's actually to teach team, like a team spirit, working with a team, achieving certain goals, conquering that goal and meeting new ones or records. That can be a good thing. But what we've seen in the literature and research, that is actually not necessary when they are children. And so how do you navigate that? When is it just fun and entertainment? And when is it something now that is a burden you've placed on your children to their own detriment? Every family must make that decision. So we need to be careful about judging families, instead encouraging families to be intentional. And that's really the point of this, for you to think through. Are you intentional about all the little commitments that you're making with your family? The one point that I like that she made in this article, and someone else had posted about it, it was, we basically made a rule that each kid can pick one thing that only meets once a week. I actually kind of like that. Now, but my wife and I are actually much more homebodies than others, and very, very busy, because I work multiple jobs. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? You need to determine that. And then that's what's sad about our culture too, where we get very critical. You need to decide what's best for your family and think intentionally, and may this actually help prompt you to sit down as a couple and maybe walk through and discuss, lay the things on the whiteboard maybe or something, and what needs to go, what needs to change, where are we actually overcommitted and overburdened, what are we missing, what are our priorities? And in this next video I'm going to be doing, we're going to be talking through that exact thing, and a skill that can be learned to do that well. So this is, again, just food for thought. For you to think about that you're a mom and a dad, a husband and wife that actually loves your kids, and most of us really do, but may we do it more intentionally, more thoughtfully, knowing that they are experiments, they are God's, they're not ours. We are to steward them, and we are to raise them up in the way that they should go. As in, do we want them to be go, 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 or actually learn how to go and stop and go and stop? And the other side of the equation that my wife and I have even found is busyness is one thing, but boredom is another danger, especially as you enter adolescence. But if you think about it, as they enter adolescence, there's jobs and getting able to work and this joy of work. Or do you see work as a burden? And are you passing that burden on to your kids, of their view of work as a burden? Each family passes on these different ethos and belief systems. So may you, again, be intentional about your raising those children in the way that they should go. Bless you and your family and your marriage. Hey there, it's Dr. Corey Gilbert, and thank you for checking out this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully it was challenging. If you want further conversations, check out my Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/thehealthymarriage. So it's groups/thehealthymarriage. I'd love to serve you further, to enter into further conversations, and just find out also how I can better serve you. So look forward to our future conversations. Bye.